So I've never really done one of these before, but I figured I'd go ahead and do a little follow-up video to this digital radio-controlled talking watch. I've had the watch now for 3 months, and it's okay. Not quite as reliable as I would have expected, and I'll show you why. This is the on-time talking watch, and I'll just show you here.
Today is Sunday, January 12, year 2014.
So if I push the lower left button,
USA, time updated.
this was done at 3 o'clock yesterday morning, because it is now Sunday and whatnot. Now if we check for a signal on this one, and this is strange because they were both sitting in the exact same location, right next to each other.
The time is 1:02 a.m.
Let me get this a little closer to the mic. Maybe you can hear it better.
Today is Sunday, January 12, year 2014. USA, time not updated.
Okay, you probably heard USA time not updated. This watch has been really odd about getting a signal. I don't know. It chooses not to get a signal whenever it feels like it, essentially. But of all of the atomics that I've had, this one has proven to be the most inconsistent. Save for a clock that we have downstairs that wouldn't update for a month, but that's another story. As far as the talking atomics that I've owned, this one's the most inconsistent. It's like it decides when it wants to update, and about, I'd say the accuracy, I'd say the update record is about 80%. And I know that even if it doesn't get a signal, it'll be fine for a few days. But the trouble is, if it doesn't get a signal, and it doesn't get a signal for at least a few days, I've found it to be at least a couple, maybe 10 or 15 seconds off. So the signal, as far as maintaining accuracy, the signal is very important to me. And if it doesn't get it maybe once in a great while, that's fine. But this one seems to not be able to pick up a signal at least once every 1 to 2 weeks. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Sometimes if I force it to do a manual update, it'll work. So that's item one. Number two is the wristband. I have to have it either here or here. Couple of problems. If I have it on this band, this hole, which is the third from the top, if you start from the bottom of the watch, go down the band, and you start counting the holes, you count 1, 2, 3. If I'm on hole number 3, it's too loose and has the potential to roll around a little bit too much. However, if I'm on hole number 2, again going down from the top, it's too tight. And originally I thought that it would be perfectly fine. I thought I'd get used to it, but it's turned out to be more of a nuisance than I expected. And so aside from not updating in the wristband, the only other problem that I really have with it is that it's incredibly quiet. What are the saving graces, though? You know, I went over the negatives. What about the positives? Well, first of all, it does have this really nice backlight. And if you haven't seen my original video, please go ahead and see it. It's the Digital Talking Atomic Watch, or Talking Digital Atomic Watch. I can't remember how I named it, but over 3 months, would I buy this again? I was originally going to say no, but I think that if they were to make some slight improvements, such as updating the sound chip and making it a little bit louder, that's number one. Number two, and I know that I keep pushing the light, I just like to see it here in the camera, because it is really a nice feature. So making the speaker louder, trying to have a style where you can swap out the band for something a little bit more, because I have a small wrist, as you can see right here, and in some instances, like with this leather band, Let's see if you can see it. Maybe if I turn it over this way, you'll be able to see. I had to punch an extra hole just to get the leather band to fit. And sometimes that can happen, unfortunately. I just happen to have a very small wrist. So sometimes, if it'd be nice to be able to swap out the band. So that's to help fit my smaller wrist. That's number 2. But the biggest one is to try to update whatever radio signal tower, the radio receiver they put in this thing, because I would say it worked fine for the first maybe month or 2 months, but after that, the signal just decided to have a mind of its own. For the most part, it updates, but lately it's been kind of hit and miss. And I've been going around in my head as to why the reason might be for this, because I've got 2 atomic clocks and 3 atomic watches, all of which update at the same time, and they're all pretty much in the same location. However, I've never ever had a problem with all of them sitting next to each other and updating. This is the only one that I've had a noticeable problem with. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, if I were to buy this again, if they were to make those improvements, I probably would. But if I were to go back and rewrite the review that I did on Amazon, I did make note that the voice is very quiet. I don't know if I went ahead and put a note that it stopped updating every now and again, but I think that was before this started happening. But no, if I were to buy if I had the option to buy this again, I don't know. What do you think? Given these problems, would you buy it? Would you not buy it? Would you say? Now, the wristband, I understand being this is sort of a unique thing to me. But as far as the inside of the watch, the quiet voice and the radio signal updates, I don't know. Do you think I'm being nitpicky, or are those things you'd like to see corrected? What do you think? Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.